Yes, hello everyone. Welcome to today's class. Today, today is day 15. Today is day 15 of our web development course. Okay. Okay. So today we are going to cover about something which is quite tricky. It is positioning. Positioning. It is positioning. Positioning. Okay. Okay. So we are going to look at this today's class. Is positioning. Before I can start what we're going to cover today, I want to take us through a small recap about what we covered yesterday in yesterday's class. Yesterday was day 14. So day 14 we looked at backgrounds. We looked at backgrounds, where we saw that backgrounds we have, for example, a plain background, where we saw that we had a plain background, and we had a gradient background, and we had an image background. And we had an image background. These backgrounds are going to help us when we are making, for example, that when we are making when you're making those cards look very, very, very beautiful, we shall have to invoke in some type of background. It can even be either a plain background, can be a gradient background, a mixed background with various mixes of colors, or it can be an image background. Where to apply where is the best fit. Okay. So if you missed yesterday's class, you can go back and check for this video. It is day 14 backgrounds. You'll be able to see it, and then you master this concept, because you are going to use it sometime to come. You cannot build a website without this. You can't build a website without this. You can't build an application without this. You see? Okay, it's a very important concept. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go to today's class. Now, today's class is a little bit hot because these concepts we're going to study today are not very, 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 very easy. Someone could skip, but this one you can't skip, even if you say what or what. So positioning, let me take you through positioning. We have positioning is what is positioning? Positioning is in layman's language, positioning is putting something in a particular area, Okay, in layman's language, this is positioning. Okay, so what are the types of positioning under CSS? We have, for example, the first one, and the first one is the types of positioning. We have fixed. Then we have static. But before I can go to static, let me say we have absolute. Okay. Then we have static. Then we have static. Then we have sticky. We have sticky. Okay. These are the major are types of what? Positioning. There is fixed, absolute, sticky, and static. Okay? Okay. So we are going to be using a certain particular concept to come to this, to arrive to this. Right? Please note it down. Note this one down. We are going to look at each and every section of this. We're going to look at each and every section of this fixed, absolute, static, sticky. We are going to look at them very well. Okay? Okay. So members, we're going to look at all this. Okay? Okay. So before I can go deep into this. There's something I want to explain to you. I want to explain this very, 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 very well, and someone gets to understand what positioning is before you can go into this very well. Okay? Okay. So there is a particular concept that is going to lead us into positioning. And if you don't, and if you fail to understand that concept, then you cannot understand positioning. The concept is, if you don't use this concept in Flex, when we're using display Flex, I would suggest you first go back and understand this concept very well, then you come back. Or let me try to repeat this concept so that you really understand it. We started about this concept last time, and this concept is very, very crucial. It is called parent container and child container and child container. If you fail to understand this concept, it is what is going to lead us to positioning here. Here, this is what is going to lead us to what? To positioning. If you fail to understand this concept, it is very crucial. Very crucial. Let me explain this concept very well, and you see it. Because if you fail to understand it, then there is nothing you're going to do in positioning. Parent container and child container. Okay? Okay. So let me try to explain this very well, and you see. I have a box here. I have a box here. The very first box that I have, the very first box that I have is there. You see this box here. This one, I call this one as the very first box that is in existence. I call this one as parent container. You see it? Parent container. You see it? Then let me say I have another box inside here. I have another box inside here. This box which is inside here, this one here, this box which is inside here becomes the child container. Remember, let's see this. This box which is inside this one becomes the child container. If I have another box inside here, if I have another box inside here, now what happens? What happens now? Now the shift, it changes. It now changes. The dynamic changes. The dynamic changes. Now, this one here, which was a parent container, now this one becomes a parent container. This one becomes a parent container. A parent container. To this child here. To this child which I've just created inside here. To this child which I've just created inside here. This child which I've just created inside here. Members, are you seeing this? This one at first was a parent container. Now when I put a box inside it here, it became this container inside it. This container which I just put inside this container here, this one becomes a child of this parent here. Now, when this parent has another container inside it, or when it gives birth to another container inside it, this one becomes the parent now, and this one becomes the child right now. Members, are you understanding this concept? I understand this concept very well. I understand this concept very well. I understand this concept very, 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 very well. Okay? Okay. So, if I have another container or another box inside here, if I have another box inside here, then this one which was once a child, it has grown up. It now becomes a parent of the child which has just been produced. A parent container now. It becomes the parent to this child which you are seeing here. So members, are you seeing this concept? How crucial it is? This one becomes a child to this one here, container. And just try to understand. Just try to understand very, very, very well. I'm going to take my time so that you can really understand this. Okay? Okay. So now, if I have another container here, I'm trying to take time so that you really understand. If I have another container here, then this one which was once a child now has given birth to this container here. So this container which was once a child now becomes the parent container. Parent container. And now this one which is inside it now becomes the child container. This one now becomes the child container. This one now becomes the child container. This is now the child container. Now, if there is another container inside it here, now this one which was once a child is now, this one now becomes a parent now to this one which is inside. This one becomes a parent. Parent to this one which is inside, and this one which is inside becomes a child. This one which was inside becomes a child. Are you understanding, members? Okay? Okay, but it does not take away the fact that this one which I have done does not take away the fact that this one was once a parent to this one, and this one here was once a parent to the other one, and the other one was once a parent to the other one, and the other one was once a parent to the other one, and the other one was once a parent to the other one. It does not take away the fact that the other one was once a parent of the other one. Of course, the other one becomes a child and the other one becomes a parent, but it doesn't take away the fact that the other one was once a parent to another a particular container. Members, I understanding that. I understanding that. So I can even use another vivid example. That, for example, if we have, for example, a father, he gives birth to a child. He gives birth to a child. Gives birth to a child. So this child here, once at one moment in time, this child here will once become a father. If he produces a child, he will once become a father. At one moment in time, this child will once become a father, and and when he becomes a father, he will produce a child. When he produces a child, he will become a father. When he produces a child, he will become a father. Are you seeing this? So even this child here at one moment in time, if he produces a child, this child here, he will also become a father. At one moment in time, he will become a father. A father. when he produces a child. You see this? Eh? When he produces a child. Eh? But this does not mean that that this one can ignore that he can ignore his father here. Yeah? That this one can ignore his father here. It does not take the fact that this one was once his parent. Yeah? That this one was once his parent. Yeah? Of course, this one here, this one remains his parent here. And also this one here remains his parent. But although he has become a father, this one remains his parent. You see this? Although he has become a father to this child here. Members, have you understood this? Have you understood this? Eh? Have you really understood this? Have you really understood this, members? Eh? It doesn't take away the fact that since this one produced a child and now the child has produced another child, it did not remove the fatherhood from him, the parent, that this one was once his parent. It remains his parent. Okay? Okay? Okay. So we are going to break this down to multiple steps until you understand it very, very, very well. Okay? Okay. Okay. So we're going to look at another. I'm going to explain for you another scenario so that you live when you have understood this very well. There is nothing that you can do without this concept.
So I hope that members have really understood this concept very well. I hope that they have understood this concept which we have just covered. This is going to be the basis of all this positioning here. If you fail to understand this concept here, you are not going to understand positioning because it's the basis of where it starts from. Okay? Okay. So even if I want to remove these arrows here and I replicate this concept, and you see here, I want to remove these arrows and I replicate this concept, and you see, to even for people to understand even more. So I'm removing this square here, I'm removing this box here, I'm also removing this box here, also this box I'm removing it, even this one I'm removing it. So now there is something new I want to bring on table. So you can see this is the parent container here, the parent container here. You see this one here, then this one. I want to put some example here, and you see. Then this one, this one, this one, this one. This one you are seeing inside here. This one is child container. Understand this concept from the word go so that we don't get confused as we go on. Child container, as you see here, is also the same as here. This one is also child container also. So child container. You see this? Also this one here you're seeing is also child container. Then also this one here you're seeing here is also child here. As you see here, it's also child container. container here. So all this one here you're seeing, all this one here you're seeing, this one, you're seeing this, you're seeing this one here, you are seeing this one here, even this one here. All of them the basis is all of them the basis is this one here. All of them the basis is parent container. All of them are children of this parent container you're seeing here. So members, I hope you're understanding this concept very well. You're understanding this concept? I hope no one still has any lingering doubts about this concept anymore. I hope no one has any doubts. You can even do this in your notebook. You can put it on a piece of paper and don't forget it. At least write it down. Write it down so that you don't forget this concept. Okay. So now, since you have understood that one, I'm going to keep introducing small by small bits so that someone is not confused at any stage. Okay? Okay. So now something I want to bring on board here. Let me even first take it back. Members, are you seeing this? Now, when I add something like this, inside here, when I add something like this, now I'm adding something like this. Don't get confused at all. Now I'm adding something like this. As long as you understand this concept, everything is going to be good for you. So now, this one, when you see something like this, automatically this one becomes the parent container here, as you see it. This one automatically becomes the parent here. And now this one here, this one which is inside here, becomes the child, as you see it here. This one becomes the child, as you see it here. You see? This one. And also this one here becomes the child, as you see it there. So it also becomes the child, as you see it there. And this one is the parent. You see these members? Also applies the same to this, also applies the same to this. I hope right now nobody has any doubts about, or anybody is still confused with this concept. I hope no one is confused with this concept anymore. Okay, so we're going to do like this. Now I'm going to teach you the positions, the various positions which we normally use in the browser. I hope everybody has understood this concept very, very, very well, and there's nobody who is still confused in whatever way. I hope everybody, we are still on the same page. No one is confused. I hope everybody is good so far with this concept here. And for the parent container and the child container there. So now, understanding this positioning here is that, for example, you will see like a box here. A box is there. And when I put it now in layman's language, we are going to do in the code, it's going to be like this: div When you see it there, this is an empty box. This is an empty box. It looks like this. Slash div. See, like this. Okay. This is how it looks like. This is how it looks like. Okay. Okay. So when I come, I get a smaller box and I put it inside here. Okay. I get a smaller box, I put inside here. So now I automatically like, let me get a smaller box. The box is here, inside here. I put the box inside there. I want to explain to you this concept very well and you understand it very well. So by default, this one is the smaller box which is inside here. This is the smaller box which is inside there. So by default, this one here you're seeing here is the smaller box, and this one is the bigger box. Understand this very well. This one is the bigger box, and this one here is the smaller box, as you see it here. This is the smaller box. This one you're seeing. All of this that you are seeing is there. It's like this. It's like this. Remember, try to understand it. Try to understand it very well. So it's like this. This is how it looks in the code. I'm trying to explain the code part and also how it looks physically. This one here is the smaller box as you see it, and this one here is the bigger box as you see it. Okay. Okay. So now how do we normally do this? So since you have understood that this one is the bigger box and this one is the smaller box, so how does positioning work? Positioning here for you right now there is nothing that we have identified that any is position. So how is it going to work? You come and you give the bigger box, this one you are seeing here. You come and you give the bigger box, this big box you are seeing here. You come and you give it this one here. You come and you give it position relative. You come and you give the bigger box you are seeing here. You give it position relative. This bigger box you are seeing here, you come and you give it position relative. The bigger box you are seeing here, you give it position relative. Why do you give it position relative? Because this one here is the parent container. Understand this from the word go. Because this one is the. Why do we give it position relative? Because it is the parent container. You see this? Members are understanding this concept right now. We give it position relative because it is the parent container. You see this? Always when you give positioning, this one here, you should give it position relative. Position relative is for this bigger box here. This bigger box you are seeing, this bigger one. The one that I'm clicking on right now is the bigger box. You give it position relative because it is the parent container. You see this? You see it here? You see it here? Okay, so we are going to start with position absolute. It is position absolute. Position absolute. We're going to start with position absolute. Position absolute is, this one is is, for example, it is it's like the free roam or the free position. I'm just using the most simplest terms as possible. The most simplest terms as possible. You see this? As you can really understand this. This one is more of a free position. This one is more of a free position. So we want to start with this one, which is absolute. This one is free to move around the whole container, the one you are seeing it here. It is free to move around the whole container. This box you are seeing, now are you seeing there are two cases I'm going to use when I'm explaining. So this one here, this smaller container you are seeing, this one which is inside here, this smaller container you are seeing inside here, the smaller container you are seeing inside here, I give it position absolute. So what does position absolute mean? Position absolute means that you are enabling this container, this small container inside this big one, to move around this one freely. It can move around freely. It can move around freely. This is what position absolute. Position absolute. It can move around freely. So let me first show you. So these two types of positions, you give them at the same time. You give this one absolute, the small one, and you give this big one relative at the same time. Don't give only one and you leave out the other. Because this is the one now you are interested in. This is the one that you are interested in. This one here. The small container is the one that you are really interested in moving. This bigger container here, you have to give it position relative, because this is the one that is the parent container. This one here that is big. So now when you give it position absolute and this one position relative, this one, the parent container will always be relative as a must. It will always be relative. You understand this? Okay. So there is the types of positions are very simple. There is top here, there is left, then here there is right. It's very simple, right? Then here there is bottom. So members, are you seeing this? If you understand this concept right from the word go, you're not going to face any challenges whatsoever. So these are the only types of positions which are here. There is top, left, bottom, and right. You see this? So when I am giving a position, for example, I want this container here to move down. I want this small container to move down. What am I going to do? Because this container, if I want this container to move throughout this container inside here, I'm going to first name this one here, the bigger container, position relative. Then the one which is inside it, the child container, I'm going to give it position absolute. You see this? Okay. So if I want now what they call a fixed position. A fixed position. Even if it is position fixed, the parent container here, the one you're seeing, the bigger container, will have position relative as a must. Then this one here, the small container, this one here, will become position fixed. It can even be fixed here forever, to be fixed. It can even be fixed up here forever. Fixed means that it is fixed forever in that position. Even if you scroll down or scroll up, it remains in the same exact position forever and ever. But absolute, this one here, absolute is more free. It can move, for it is fixed in a particular position, but it moves throughout. Like for that one, we can move it throughout. This one, which is absolute. But now there's another one which is called position sticky. There is another type of position, it is called position sticky. Sticky. So this one here, we normally use it when we are dealing with, for example, like headers, where the header is fixed in a particular position. Also, this one here, mark one thing. The parent container, this one you are seeing, the bigger container always. The parent must always have position, relative. As a must, it must always have position relative. Then the one which is inside this, the parent, this one here, one which becomes the child container inside here, it must have any of these positions, and you must put these two positions at the same time. You should put position absolute and position relative at the same time. You should put position relative and position fixed, any of which. You should put position relative and position sticky, any of each works. You see this? Okay. So these ones are all the same, but this one here, it is a must. It is a must. If you don't put this one, for example, you forget it. Let me say the worst case scenario is this one, you don't put it and you forget, and then you just say position absolute, just, it will not work. I repeat, it will not work. Even if you try where, it will not work, because what are you positioning when you have not defined the parent container inside it, or the bigger container? Which container does it belong to? It will not work. And also, if you put position relative alone and you don't put any of these positions here, it will still not work. Members, have you got this very well? Okay. So we are going to explain position absolute. We're going to start from position absolute. Okay? Okay. So position absolute, for it, you can move here. For example, I want to move left, this side left here. What does this mean? This one means that there are 0 pixels. 0 pixels on what? Or zero, it is either 0 rem, because you are seeing this one is on the line now. It is either 0 rem and this one some width. For you just look at the distance. What's the distance between here and there? The distance between the right and the distance between the left. If there is no any distance between the left, that means this one is what? Is 0. It is 0. Just 0. Plain 0. You see it? 0 left. If I say 0 left and 0 bottom, if I say 0 left and 0 bottom, that means it is going to be in the corner here, because it is touching the left hand side 0 and also bottom 0. So if I go up here, if I take this one up here, that means if I come and say top 0, it will touch the top part, and left 0, it will touch the left part. And that means it will be top 0 and left 0. So if I come here just slightly and I give it, for example, 1 rem, a small type of measurement, that is a small type of measurement, it will come, for example, top, you give that distance, and left that distance. So for absolute, for it, we can give it any of these ones here, as you see it. It can move throughout all this. But one which is fixed, even if you scroll the browser, that one will remain in that position. It will never
change the position forever and ever. It will remain in that same position. It will never change the position. If I say that it will be fixed here in the bottom, even if you scroll and you scroll and you move up, even if you move up and you scroll the browser until the last section, even if you keep scrolling, you scroll up, eh? This is happening and it's weird. Let me first remove this. So even if you scroll the browser up, eh? You scroll the browser up like this, you keep scrolling up. You keep scrolling up. This one will always be fixed here. It will never change the distance. It will never change the distance. But for absolute, it remains in that same exact position you put it, but for it keeps, we can manipulate the distance. Have you understood, members? Okay? Okay, we're now going to do this practically. At least right now you have gotten some clue about it. Always and always and always. Let me repeat this before even we enter. We will dive into the video. Now here, parent container here, it will always and always have the position relative. Always and always and always. Eh? Always. So, the child container here, the one which is inside, just know that the one which is inside is called the child here. So always and always and always, the child container will always bear any of these. It will either be absolute, choose one, or it will be fixed, or it will be sticky. Any of these, but not both. Eh? So when you're writing positioning, you first specify and you give the bigger container, this one here, the parent, you first make it position relative. Then the one which is inside, this one, the child you are seeing here, then you give it position absolute, or you give it position fixed, or you give it position sticky. Members, have you understood this? I hope you understand very well, because where we are going, it's going to be very hard if you fail to understand from now. Very difficult. Okay? Okay, so as a must, you give the position, the parent container, this one here, relative, and then the child either takes any of these. It takes any of these. Don't omit. If you specify only for this one and you leave out this one here, then the positioning won't work. Have you understood? If you specify for this and you forget to put this, it won't work. They work hand in hand. You should first give this one here relative, and then you give any, then you give down which is inside any of this. Have you understood? Okay. So something else I can tell you which confuses people. Something else I can tell you that confuses most people is this. The child inside here. This one here, it could be, you could say that this one here is smaller inside. What the one who was inside, it now becomes bigger. Bigger than the one which is inside. Still, as long as you wrote it like this, div inside, still this one remains as a must. This one remains the what? The child inside here. No matter what, as long as you wrote this one inside this, as long as you wrote it inside the other div, it will still remain child container inside it. Have you understood this? Even if it enlarges itself and becomes way bigger than the one which is inside, still, because it wrote it like this, that this one here which is inside is now larger than this, it will still remain child container inside this small container. Members, have you understood this? Have you understood this? We are going to dive in. Have you understood this? Very well. Before we enter and we see the thing before we begin seeing these things in action on the browser. Have you understood this very well? Okay, we are going to enter. Another thing I wanted to talk about is today is day 15. So members, on this day here, day 16, we are going to cover sections. Sections. This one here, we're going to look at what is the hero section, what is contained in the hero section, what is contained in the footers, all the necessary sections that we require. And here, on this day here, day 17, we are going to study something about, we are going to start our real project. Okay? The first project. We are going to start our first project. Our first project. So I'd not like you to miss out. If you haven't yet hit subscribe, please hit that. Hit the bell icon down there and you subscribe so that you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. You get them once they reach you. On this day here, we're going to cover sections. On this day, we're going to cover the first project you're going to do. It's going to have all the combinations from what we covered from the beginning up to now. This first project. Okay? Okay. So now we are going to dive in and we see. So I'm going to come here in my lessons here. I'm going to create a new folder. I call it day 15. You see, day 15. I come, they bring from an option, open with code. Open with code. I open with code. You see, I right click, not left click, right click. Open with code. Then I come here. I create my index.html. Index.html. Okay. I come here, I create my style.css. Rename style.css. Okay. Okay. So I come here, I say shift brings for me that option there. I click there. Okay, I come here. Before I can do anything else, I first do what they call browser reset. Browser reset. I first do what they call a browser reset. After doing a browser reset, I'm going to come here. I say, I give it, for example, that star. I give here margin. Members, if you did cover any of these videos, the previous ones, and you're here for the very first time, maybe unless you understand this concept, you already know these concepts. If you don't know these concepts, then I'm betting you are seeing only stars. Please go back and watch those videos which we covered when we were studying those concepts. Okay? Okay. So browser reset, I do it very well. I come here, I say link.css. It's there. Come here. Okay. Now I'm going to give here. This is my body. I'm going to give here div. I'm going to say here dot parent container. Parent container. Okay, inside dot parent container. I come here, I say dot parent container. I come here, I open, I say width 100%, height 100 VH, height 100 VH. I come here, I give padding. No, not padding. I come, I give background color Background color, I give orange red. I like orange red very much. After giving, I come here, go live, I see how it looks like. I'm waiting for it, I see how it looks like, it's there, okay? It's there. So I'm going to come here, I say now, child container, child container. Then after, it is inside here. This is the parent, this is the child container inside here. I come here outside the parent, I say dot child container. Child container. I come, I give it width. I set 200 pixels. I come here, I give height. I also give it 200 pixels. Then I come here, I say background color. I give here background color, I give green. Now this one is orange red, this one is green. So I want to see how it looks like this, okay? Okay. So members, let me first give you some time. You first write anything that you're still writing, write it. This is how it looks like. This is how it looks like. The HTML code looks like this. You see? And the CSS code looks like this. Give you like 1 second. If you're writing, you can write it down. Okay? So the child container is inside there, the parent container, as you see it here, inside there. So I want to move it now. I don't want it to be here. I want to move it. From here, I want it like this side. What am I going to do? As long as I am putting positioning, always, the container that comes before the other one should be positioned relative as a must. Then this one here, I give it, for example, position absolute. Members, I understand this concept very well. After me giving it like that, those two types of, this one must be given relative and this one must be given absolute. This one can change. I can even give this one fixed, or I can give this one sticky or anything. But this one, the one which is coming before, should always be relative as a must. It should be relative as a must. Okay. So after doing that, I just come on now the parent container here. I say now. I now use right. I say 20%. Then I come here. I say no, instead of saying 20%, let me first give something here. I see it's becoming a little bit weird there. It's like this, okay. So I'm going to give it, for example, I want to give it right. Let me give it 4 rem. Then I come, I give top 1 rem. Okay, so it looks like this. Now it's going to shift a little bit. So here, members, I want you to see this container very well. Now I want to move this container inside here. So I want to move it. I want to use the simplest example. I want to move it like, for example, like 4 rem. Right now it's 0 here, 0 0. I want to give it, for example, some distance here from the left. How is it going to look like? I'm going to come on this container here. I give it left
for example, giving left, for example, left 4 rem. You see this automatically it moves. So the top part of it, the top here, I give it, for example, like 4 rem, and I see top, the distance 4 rem. I see how it looks like. You see, it's like that. So even if I come here and say left 16 rem, you see where it goes? It moves throughout here. You see this? You see this? It moves throughout this box here. So I can even come and I give it, for example, even if I remove top and I give it bottom 0 rem, and I see how it looks like. It goes to the, because of this 0 rem you're seeing here on the what? On the bottom. Remember, are you seeing this? Because of this 0 rem you're seeing here. So I can even give, but I normally use 2. Use only 2. Don't use more than 2. Can give it maybe like a 12 rem. 12 rem. So you see where it is? That right is what? 12 rem. You see? So this is what they call position absolute. Position absolute. You see this? Position absolute. You see? Members, I hope you have understood this. I hope you have understood this. So even if I want to bring it, for example, in the middle a little bit, I can just come and give it, instead of bottom 0 rem, I can give it, for example, like bottom 10 rem. You see? Bottom, that means this distance from here up to here is what? 10 rem. This distance you are seeing from here up to there is 10 rem. Okay? Okay. So this is basically how absolute positioning works. This is how it works. Okay? Okay. So we're going to look at fixed positioning, and we see. Fixed positioning, I'm not going to carry this, I duplicate it. I want to duplicate the parent container. Okay, let me just create a new container down there. I say here div. Here I say camion class. I give it parent container 2. Simple as that. Something I want to show you now, the fixed positioning. I come here down, I say dot parent container 2. And I open this quotes, I say width, I say 100%. I come here, I say height. I say height is 100 VH. Then I come here, I say background color purple. Background color purple. Okay? Okay. So when I come here, now this section is created here. It is created here. Okay? It is here. This was one. Now there is a second one here. So now, are you seeing that? Are you seeing something I want you to see very well? Something I want you to see and observe very well, so you don't mess up. Okay? Okay. For absolute, for it, I can scroll and even leave that section there. It won't hurt me. It won't hurt. It won't do anything. Okay? But now, for fixed positioning. For what? Fixed positioning. For it, even if I scroll, it will what? It will hurt me. It will remain fixed. Even if you scroll, it will remain in that same exact position. See this position here? It remains in that same exact positioning. Even if you scroll, it will remain there in that position. It will not change.
So what am I going to do? I'm just going to come here, you say, on that child container I'm seeing here. Instead of, let me first try and say fixed IC, fixed, okay, and I see. Members, are you seeing something like this? Even if I scroll like this and go, it remains in the same place. It cannot change. It cannot change. Members, are you seeing this? Are you seeing this very well? It cannot change. Even if I scroll, it cannot change. So members, this is really nice. This is what they call fixed positioning. And how do we normally use fixed positioning? You see, for absolute was like this. Absolute, it remains in that position. Don't you have given it, but it does not remain that same position forever. It stays in that same position. You see it? But down for fixed positioning, it stays in that same positioning. For example, fixed, it stays in that same place. You see it? Even if I scroll, it stays in that same place. So let me give you an example. We're going to use an example here and you see. For example, let me get here. Let me go here on flat icons. Flat icons. I'll show you with a vivid example and you understand. Choose here WhatsApp. WhatsApp. I want to use a vivid example and you understand this. I think this one, let me get this one, okay? PNG, download. It's called WhatsApp.png, okay? I want to bring this WhatsApp.png, I bring it inside here. This is that image of what? Of WhatsApp. I bring it inside there, okay? Okay. So it is here, WhatsApp.png. So I'm going to come here. Now I'm going to use this child container. I want to put it to use. This child container, I want to put it to what? To use, to good use. What am I going to do? I'm going to reduce its size. I'm going to reduce its size from this. I put it like, for example, 50 pixels. 50 pixels. 50 pixels. 50 pixels. So it has reduced to that, okay? It has reduced to what? To that. Now what am I going to do? I'm going to take it bottom. I'm going to say 1 rem, and right, I say 1 rem. Okay? Okay. So it's there. You see, it's now here. Positioning. You see it? It is there. Okay? Okay. So what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm going to come here in the child container inside here. I say child container. Child container. Are you seeing the child container very well? Are you seeing the child container very well? I'm going to come here. I say background. Remember, this is the concept we started yesterday. Background URL. I say dot slash WhatsApp.png. Just simple as that. Background size cover. As simple as that. I'm using now the WhatsApp, the image that I have gotten here. I'm now using it as what? A background. Okay? Okay. So members, it is there. You see it? It is here. Are you seeing this? It is here. Even if I scroll, this is where now the concept comes into what? Play. Members, are you seeing? Even if I scroll, this is where the concept now comes into what? Play. You see? Fixed positioning. Okay? Okay? Okay, so I hope you members have really understood. I hope you have really understood. There is another one that is called sticky, but right now let me not introduce sticky. You first master this absolute and the parent the parent positioning. Okay. When you need this one for sticky, which I'll tackle it. But most that you must use the absolute and parent. Okay. Okay. So members, in our next video, we're going to look at sections. Okay. This is when we shall usher in the first project which we shall do. Okay. Okay. So now look at sections. I hope members you have really enjoyed this lesson. It is about positioning. Okay. Okay. So we're going to look at sections in our next video. Please don't miss out. Don't miss. Okay. Okay. So I hope to see you in the next video. If you have any challenges, please let me know in the comment section. I see how I can help you. Okay. Okay. So I hope to meet you in the next video. Bye.